Oh, I bet that sounded nice with the mic on. Right, so what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel in this week's video. Today, I'm going to be taking you through my top 3 tips to maximise your chest training, to grow your chest, to help you understand what you need to do or what you may not be doing that can improve your chest training. As you can see, I just cracked open a Monster. Today's my rest day. So I'm using this time to take you through Friday's chest day workout. So without further ado, let's get started. Right, so first off, as I'm setting up, you can see that I shift my bum further forward on the seat, and I scapular dropped and retracted, and I puffed your chest up. So this brings me on to my first tip, and that is to understand not only the human biomechanics in the movement, and what coming forward on the seat does is puts your body at a slight slant so that your chest is further forward than your shoulders, meaning that if you stick will contract better, have a greater range of motion, and your delts and your traps won't take over the movement if you keep yourself slanted back. Care of your execution, take care of your setup. Those 3 cues make up tip 1. Bring your chest forward, as the main thing that will stop your chest growth, I promise you this, is your shoulders coming forward and taking over the movement, whether that be a fly, like I've explained here, keeping your chest up to stop your shoulders from taking over, or in a pressing movement where you start to struggle and you throw the weight up with your shoulders rather than keeping the tension on the pecs. And this is very easy to do, especially when you're grinding out on a heavier weight. Because it's all well and good setting up like this and being perfect in your first rep, but if you drop your form off as the set continues, then you're cheating yourself, you're sabotaging your growth, and your chest isn't going to grow. So you'll see as I'm pyramiding up to my top set here, I'm making a conscious effort to stay in control in those changes in direction. So whether that be at peak eccentric or peak concentric, there's a slight pause to remove any momentum, keep the majority of the tension on the pec, and to really standardize my form, so I know that next week if I do more, I'm doing more because my chest is getting stronger rather than I'm cheating just to beat my log. This brings me on to tip 2 as we come on to the dumbbell pressing movement, and that is to really be the master of the tempo. So very easy to do, especially on a gym bro ego lifting movement like the dumbbell press, as you see me do here, to let the weight drop towards your chest and bounce it off your chest on a barbell bench, or in a dumbbell to let the weight drop, catch it with your elbows, use that spring that you generate on the way down to sling it back up. This will use your limbs, so your shoulders and your triceps, more your joints and your tendons than your actual limb muscles, but most importantly it will take away from the tension that is placed upon the chest and starting to struggle towards the latter end of your set. So as you see me pyramiding up, I try to keep a uniform tempo, a couple of seconds down, maybe a 1 second pause, maybe not even that, but enough to stop the stretch reflex response from happening, so that my pec muscle is staying contracted and being responsible for the A to B movement, rather than the stretch reflex of my ligaments and tendons and my joints bouncing it out of that length and range, as the eccentric and getting towards that length and range is where you earn a lot of your gains. So slowing down the eccentric, like I said with the pec fly, a slight pause in the hole on the peak eccentric where the pec muscle is at its most lengthened before going into the concentric, getting rid of that stretch reflex, getting rid of momentum, standardizing your form. That will lead to the most growth. And if that means you have to drop the weight, I hate when people say this, but it is true, if that means you have to drop the weight temporarily just to teach yourself how to be in that peak length and range, I promise you, once you learn it, once your body comes accustomed to being comfortable in that peak length and range, you won't be at the lowered weight for long. You still have that muscle that was getting you through that top bit of when you were moving faster, but just getting comfortable in that length and range. Once your body's accustomed to that, you'll pick the weights back up and you'll become even stronger still, because your chest will actually be growing, your chest will actually be getting stronger, rather than the surrounding and the agonistic muscles contributing to that. Because at the end of the day, this is for bodybuilding, this is for growing the muscle, the pectoral, the chest muscle. And finally, this brings us to our third tip, and that is to train all aspects of the pec. So this means pressing and flies, not just all flies, not just all presses, using a combination of the 2. I'll only show 1 fly here, but I do 2 fly movements on my chest and trap session and 3 pressing movements, but also train at different inclines and from different angles. So you see me train flat on the first 2 exercises, you're seeing me train on an incline for the machine press and then on a decline for the other machine press. So I'm hitting, because obviously the pec is split into 2 muscles. I'll explain it simply here for the lower and upper. There is no middle pec, but training on the flat will get a little combination of the both, maybe biasing the lower pec. Then the incline, you don't need a high incline, as the more you incline, the less your pec actually works and more your anterior front delt works. So once you get to a high incline, it becomes more of a shoulder and clavicle press anyway. So that low incline that I'm doing on the machine there will suffice upper chest stimulus, and I'm finishing on a decline machine, really squeezing in towards my lower pec. As you can see here, a free tip on all training is to use intensifiers, especially on the latter ends of your workouts. If you're training a high volume approach like I am, you don't want to be doing it with every exercise, but this is my last movement for chest, so I incorporated a drop set to get that extra bit of volume and really finish my session off strong, really finish the muscle and go out leaving nothing in the gym. Still keeping control of the changes in direction like in tip 2, and keeping a good tempo to make sure that the chest is the main driver of the movement. Still using tip 1, setting up correctly. In my flat bench, I made sure my arms are near a 45-degree angle, so I'm pressing with my pectorals rather than flaring my shoulders and taking stress off of the chest and putting it on the delts. When I'm doing the incline, I'm making sure that my body position is lower down the seat, so I'm not pressing an incline from below my rib cage and almost tricep extending the weight up. I'm not going too low down so that I'm trying to incline off my chin. Setting up properly, making sure that my chest is always puffed up so that it's prominent and there's a greater active range of motion like I explained in the first exercise, and also that my scapula is retracted and dropped so that my traps are less contributing to the movement. Similarly for the decline, making sure that I'm not too low down so that my bias is not on the lower pec, which is what I want, and it's not too high up that my delts and my shoulders are internally rotating to get the weight down, which will cause rotator cuff injuries, which further emphasizes the importance of setting up not only for muscular growth and hypertrophy purposes, but also in injury prevention as well. So that is that. I hope you did enjoy. Hope you found those tips useful. Let me know in the comments down below if you are going to use, which tips that you did not know about, which you did know about. Any feedback is good. I'm feeling good because yesterday was a high day. I talked over my high day in last week's video. If you haven't seen that already, a link in the description below for that, where I took you through what a high day means, what it is, how it can be used and implemented into your diet to make the most out of certain phases of your physique development, whether that be in growth phases or in diet and cutting phases as well. My diet has already changed as I've had an extra high day added. I've gone from 2 to 3 of my days being high day and 4 of them being at the base diet, which is different from what I said in last week's video, and also an extra 200 calories added as well. But I won't make a separate video for that because it's very minimal changes. I'll just quickly tell you about it now as I look to my diet plan that I've written on my fridge. It's an extra 50 grams of mince in the morning with my meal 1. Meal 2 remains the same, meal 3 remains the same, an extra 20 grams of rice in my meal 4 and an extra 20 grams of cream of rice in my meal 5. So more carbs towards the latter end of the day to obviously help with recovery and glycogen restoration for the next training day, and a little bit of protein in the morning just to bring a bit more pre-workout. But yeah, that is that. That's going to end the video for this week. If you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like on the video as always. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Back to the Wednesday 6pms routinely. Got a good recording and editing setup going as of this moment. Hopefully that lasts. Thank you so much for all the support recently. The last 2-3 videos have done amazing. They've all been 1 out of 10s. It's better and better and better each week, which I couldn't ask for more. The subscribes are going up as well, which I am buzzing about. Let's keep it going. Let's try and build the channel a bit more, get myself out there, and I'll catch you all next week for another video. Right, I'm out.